If you love me, feed my sheep. Faith in Action does this. As I interact with people through Faith in Action, I am reminded of my mother, a feisty and independent lady. On separate occasions, she had both knees replaced. As a result of complications from the second surgery, she felt she was no longer a competent driver and surrendered her license. The reality was devastating to this woman, a woman that well into her 70s drove cross-country and back alone. Her inability to come and go as she pleased was literally crippling. She lost her zest for life. Faith in Action seeks to minimize this shock. Good morning. I am Fluke. My first volunteer job with Faith in Action was in 2000. I was exposed to Faith in Action through Joanne Kays, the then director of Faith in Action. She made a presentation at my church and offered different people different volunteer opportunities. One task was to coordinate the Faith in Action program for Our Lady of Angels. With some 15 volunteers and a host of people needing services, another lady and I coordinated this program. What started as a phone relationship with many people grew into far more. I am reminded in particular of Mary. Her husband was on dialysis 3 days a week. Mary did not drive, so we drove her back and forth along with her husband. In addition, she needed transportation to get groceries or perhaps for appointments for both herself and her husband. As her husband's condition deteriorated, he moved into a nursing home, and Mary insisted upon visiting every day. That meant that we coordinated a minimum of 14 rides alone per week just for Mary. You can imagine at Christmas time, things are very hectic for everybody, and I was very concerned about getting rides for Mary. Fortunately, all the volunteers through now Holy Family, through Our Lady of Angels, were wonderful in finding time to help Mary. One day in December, Harold, one of our volunteers, and I were discussing the many openings that we needed to fill, including for Mary. And he asked about Mary for Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And I shared the challenge that it would be to get rides for Mary on these days. He offered to do both. I was so grateful. And now Mary would be able to spend these special days with her husband. And then we have the tag team of Nick and Nancy. They were ever faithful. They provided rides, visited the homebound so their caregivers could get a break, and reassessed care receivers as their situations changed. If Nick could not do it, Nancy would. And then there's Ruth. Always came armed with a few jokes to set a light tone as she transported people. Harold, Nick and Nancy, and Ruth all fed the sheep of Our Lady of Angels flock, as did many others. Currently, I am the Senior Living Ministry Coordinator for the Council. That means I arrange worship services at 8 local nursing homes. Most facilities have a weekly worship service provided by a local member of the clergy or a deacon. My relationship with both the worship service providers and the activity directors at the nursing homes is almost exclusively by phone. So if some of you are here today, I would not recognize your face, but I might recognize your voice. In each of these settings, the generous, caring, and dedicated people that give to others make all of this possible. I am honored to have been touched by them. They all heed what Jesus asked: feed my sheep. Thank you.